Fiancé got gang asterisked at her bachelorette party, so I vanished quietly before the wedding and what? Hello everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. My fiancée got gang beaten at her bachelorette party, so I quietly disappeared before our wedding. And what happened afterward totally left everyone stunned. I'm Mike, a 32-year-old guy, and last weekend I was supposed to marry my fiancée, Emily, who's 29. We've been together for 3 years, living together most of that time, and I truly thought she was the one. We'd been through a lot together, and I believed our relationship was rock solid. At least I did. Emily took off for her bachelor trip to Miami with 7 friends just 2 weekends before the wedding. Honestly, I wasn't worried about it. We trusted each other fully, and I assumed they'd just have some drinks, club hopping, maybe even catch a male stripper or two, pretty standard stuff. I even dropped her off at the airport, kissed her goodbye, and told her to have fun. During her trip, I hung out with my friends, finalized wedding plans, and picked up my tuxedo. Everything seemed normal. She kept texting me about how much fun she was having, how she missed me, the usual. She returned Sunday night tired but happy, saying they'd had a blast and she was glad to be back. But then Wednesday night, just 3 days before the wedding, I got a text from an unknown number. It said, "You should see what your fiancée did at her bachelorette party. She's not who you think she is," along with a video attachment. At first I almost deleted it thinking it was spam, but something made me open it. What I saw shattered me. It was Emily with 2 guys in what looked like a hotel room, and they were doing things to her. She wasn't drunk or out of it. She was actively participating and even encouraging them. One moment she looked into the camera, smiled darkly, and said, "What happens in Miami stays in Miami, right?" Then busted out laughing. I watched the whole thing, all 3 minutes and 42 seconds of it, and it destroyed the future I had planned. I felt sick to my stomach. I didn't confront her right away. I needed time to process. That night I claimed I wasn't feeling well and stayed in our spare bedroom. The next morning, while Emily was at her final dress fitting, I called my best man, Tony, showed him the video, and he was just as shocked as I was. I needed someone to confirm that what I saw was real. He asked me what I was going to do, and I told him straightforwardly, "I'm not getting married." I spent Thursday packing a bag with essentials while Emily was out with her mom. I left her a note that just said, "I know what you did in Miami. The wedding's canceled." I put her engagement ring and my key on top of it, then moved into Tony's place temporarily, turned off my phone because I just couldn't handle the incoming storm of messages. When I turned it back on Saturday morning, which should have been our wedding day, I had 47 missed calls and over 60 texts from Emily, her family, and some of our mutual friends. The texts from Emily ranged from confused, like, "Where are you?" Panicked, "Please call me," admitting she'd made a terrible mistake. She begged me to give her a chance to explain. Her parents called, angry that I'd abandoned their daughter, then confused when I explained why. I found out Emily finally told them what she did after they couldn't reach me. I sent a quick message to our wedding guests, saying it was canceled due to unforeseen circumstances, and apologized for the inconvenience. Then I messaged Emily directly. "There's nothing to discuss. It's over." It's been a week now. I've moved into an apartment, started the process of separating our lives, and blocked her everywhere. But she keeps trying to contact me, saying it was a drunk, stupid mistake, that it meant nothing, that she was caught up in the moment and peer pressure from her friends. I saw the video. She wasn't that drunk. She knew exactly what she was doing. Her cousin, who wasn't at the bachelorette party, reached out yesterday. She told me Emily was a wreck, hardly eating, crying all the time. She begged me to talk to her, but I refused. I told her maybe I should have confronted Emily directly instead of leaving. But I just couldn't face her knowing what she did. The idea of standing there at the altar, promising fidelity when she'd already broken those vows, was too much. Some people say I was harsh to leave like this, but how can you ever come back from something like this? How can I trust her again? The woman I loved betrayed me in the worst possible way right before our wedding. The pain and humiliation hit deeper than I can describe. I don't know what's next. I'm just taking it day by day. There's no going back. 2 weeks later, I want to thank everyone for the support and advice. I really appreciate it. Things have been a roller coaster, but I learned something surprising. I found out the person who sent me the video was the girlfriend of one of the guys Emily slept with. Apparently, he'd been bragging about it, and she found the video on his phone. She was deeply upset and saw what was happening. I also discovered who Emily really was through some background social media digging, and she sent me the footage anonymously. It's frustrating, but it helped reveal the truth. Emily is still trying to reach me. She showed up at my new apartment crying and begging for a chance to explain. I let her in tired of her causing scenes outside. Her story was exactly what I expected. I was drunk. It was just physical. It didn't mean anything. I love you. It was a mistake. Classic excuses cheaters make. But what really struck me was what she admitted afterward. According to her, they'd all been at this club, and her friends encouraged her to have one last fling. She said the guys weren't random. They'd met the night before and hung out all weekend. She swore it was only that one time, but then she broke down and admitted she'd made out with one of those guys the night before she left. The more she talked, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a spontaneous, drunken mistake. There was flirting, planning, and deliberate decisions made over days. And some of her bridesmaids, not just friends but women who'd stood beside us, actually encouraged it and even filmed parts of it. When I called her on this, she got defensive. "It's normal to have a final fling before marriage," she said. "That's when I lost it." I told her normal. Betraying the person you claim to love is normal. Participating in a threesome on camera the week before our wedding, that's normal. She cried harder, saying I was being cruel and unforgiving, that if I loved her, I'd understand she made a mistake and try to work through it. I laughed. "If you really loved me, you wouldn't have fed two guys at your bachelorette party," I said. She left after that, but not before uttering something chilling. "You'll regret throwing away everything we built over one mistake." It didn't sound like remorse. It sounded like a threat. Now she's spreading stories that I was controlling and emotionally abusive, which is totally false. She's playing the victim, claiming I abandoned her without hearing her out, and that I'm punishing her for just one mistake. Some mutual friends have even taken her side. Financially, it's a mess. We're fighting over who pays what for the wedding costs. Her parents paid most deposits, but many final payments, around $6, $0, were due just before the wedding from our joint account, which I only withdrew half of because I contributed more. She demands I pay back my half. But I refuse. Why should I pay for a wedding that didn't happen because she cheated? I've talked to a lawyer, and since we weren't married yet, I think I'm legally okay. Still, it's a headache. The social fallout is just as messy. Her bridesmaids are spreading a twisted version of what happened, painting me as the bad guy who abandoned his fiancée over a drunken kiss, that they conveniently leave out the threesome part. When I confront people about it, they say I'm shamming her or that what happens at a bachelorette party stays there, and some buy into their stories. I've lost friends, people who either believe her or think I should forgive her. One of her bridesmaids, Lexi, actually called to apologize, confessing she filmed the video and regrets encouraging Emily. She told me alcohol was involved, and things got out of control. She also confirmed something I suspected. This was Emily's first cheat. Apparently, about 2 years ago, Emily did something similar with a coworker, which her friends helped cover up. That really hit me hard, made me question whether I overreacted ending things so definitively. But the pattern of deception made me certain I made the right call. The trust was shattered. I learned that Emily reached out to both Miami guys after she got pregnant. One blocked her. The other, who's married, is in the middle of a divorce and wants nothing to do with the kid. His wife, Valerie, told me about the drama. He claims their encounter was consensual but that he was too drunk to use protection properly. Everyone's laughing that off. Anyway, Emily now faces single motherhood with two guys not interested in her or the child. Her family, who rushed to condemn me, are now trying to support her in this crisis. Her father, who caused that scene at my office, avoids eye contact when we cross paths. Her reputation is taking a hit. Many friends have distanced themselves, and her career's taken a blow. She took extended leave due to pregnancy complications and her mental health struggles, and I heard she's been passed over for a promotion. Honestly, I don't feel victorious over all this. I'm just sad for the time and trust I invested, for the future we dreamed of, and for the child who's about to be born into this mess. Mostly, I just feel relief that I found out who she really was before the wedding, that I'm not tied to her through a child, and that I can finally close this chapter and move forward without her shadow hanging over me. I've been doing well. I moved into a new apartment that actually feels like home, got a promotion last month, and reconnected with old friends. I even started dating casually, nothing serious yet, just taking my time. Therapy has been a huge help, especially with trust issues. I refuse to let what she did define my future. The financial stuff, been settled, wasn't cheap, but peace of mind was worth it. Emily finally picked up the last of her things from storage last week, so we're finally completely disconnected. Valerie and I still meet for coffee occasionally. In fact, we've built a genuine friendship. She's dating someone new, and we often joke about how our exes brought us together in a weird way. Honestly, I think this will be my last update. The story's pretty much over. Emily made her choices, and she's living with them now. I've made peace with it all, and I'm focused on building a new life. In a strange way, I'm actually thankful. If it weren't for that anonymous video, I might be married to her right now, unaware of her true character, maybe even raising another man's kid as my own. But instead, I'm free to find real happiness with someone who's trustworthy. For anyone going through something similar, I promise it gets better. The hurt doesn't disappear overnight, but it fades with time. Life moves on, and sometimes the worst betrayals lead to fresh new beginnings. 1 year later, I never intended to post again, but something happened that felt like true closure. I'll end with this final update. My life been pretty good, better than I expected. My promotion came with a hefty raise, and I finally took that travel trip I'd always wanted but never prioritized. I visited Japan, Portugal, and spent a month working remotely from Argentina. Those experiences have been amazing and surprisingly healing. The woman I've been dating, Melissa, and I got serious pretty fast, more than I had planned, but as I've learned, plans don't always follow the script. She's everything Emily wasn't: honest, direct, supportive without enabling. We've been together 8 months now, and I've never felt more secure. She knows my whole story and has been patient with my trust issues. I've successfully avoided any contact with Emily for months now. I only hear snippets from mutual friends. She's got a boy, and she's struggling with single motherhood. One of the Miami guys eventually agreed to a paternity test and confirmed he's the father, but refuses involvement beyond court-ordered child support. I thought we'd never cross paths again, but last week I ran into Emily at a coffee shop downtown. Honestly, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked different, thinner, tired, her hair cut short. The confident woman I once loved seemed gone, replaced by someone worn down by life. She saw me before I could leave, and we stared at each other for a moment. Then she asked if we could talk. Against my better judgment, I sat with her. She looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm sorry, not just for what I did, but for how I handled everything afterward. You deserve better. I was selfish, stupid, and I ruined what we had." It wasn't the apology I expected, but it felt genuine. She didn't make excuses or blame alcohol or her friends. She simply took responsibility. She told me about her life now, struggling with single motherhood, judgment from others, the loss of friends and respect. Her parents are even selling their house to help with the baby. Her career is barely hanging on, and she's in therapy, trying to understand why she sabotaged her own happiness. The worst thing she said was that she knows I hurt someone who truly loved me. I didn't respond much. I didn't know what to say. The anger I once held is gone, replaced by indifference and a vague sadness, thinking about what might have been. I told her I appreciated her apology, wished her well, and then stood to leave. As I walked away, she asked one last thing: "Are you happy?" I thought about Melissa, my job, my travels, my friends. All the good in my life now. I said, yes, I am. She nodded, gave me a sad smile, and said, good, you deserve to be. That 5-minute chat gave me more closure than all the therapy sessions combined because I saw her honestly acknowledge what she'd done and its consequences. Walking away from that coffee shop, I felt a weight lift. No resentment, no anger, just acceptance that sometimes people make choices that irrevocably change their lives. And all we can do is adapt and move forward. A couple of nights ago, I sat on my balcony watching the sunset with Melissa, and I realized something. I'm grateful. Not because Julia deserved what happened or because I enjoy her struggles, but because that painful chapter freed me to find actual happiness. Her attempt to destroy me inadvertently set me free. That's it, the final chapter of a story I never thought I'd be part of. For everyone who followed along and supported me, thank you. And to those going through similar pain, hang in there. It gets better. The hurt doesn't disappear overnight, but it fades. Life moves on, sometimes into brighter places you never imagined. Thanks for watching.